Hey everyone, hope you're having a really great time wherever you are. I'm Robbie Thigpen with the Sargassum podcast. I'm here with Cleo today, and we've got a special bonus episode to tell you about a really important upcoming event and all. And with that, Cleo, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Hello everyone, today we have Antoine Erwes, who is part of Seaweed First, a French NGO organizing a upcoming event that is called Seaweed Around the Clock, the 2nd of June. Seaweed First support the growth and capacity building of to farm to increase economic, social, and environmental impacts. They aim to raise awareness and collect donations in order to support sustainable seaweed projects globally. This year, in June, they will organize the second edition of their event Seaweed Around the Clock. The first global event united people and businesses of all backgrounds in order to talk about the growing seaweed industry. So welcome, Antoine.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, since this is the Sargassum podcast, we generally ask people the same question over and over again just to hear their response. But since you work with seaweed, kind of tell us for just a minute, what does seaweed mean to you personally?
It's a question we get very often and that I like talking about is, what's your seaweed story? Mine is kind of plenty of different stories at the same time. It happened, it disappeared, it came back. But the first real time where I had a link is when I actually worked in China. And over there, I started understanding how the seaweed industry was huge and had a massive impact, and visited certain facilities using seaweed. So at that point, I started understanding that, there was an industry that wasn't very existent elsewhere, and that was really in the works. And then, as my business started moving forward, I went into sustainability and marine resources, and I came back into seaweed because I realized how amazing of a resource it was and how it could answer a lot of issues and challenges we face today.
Thank you so much for your answer. So you're part of Seaweed NGO, Seaweed First NGO, and you are organizing the second annual Seaweed Around the Clock on the 2nd of June. Can you explain us how it will be organized and why people should attend it?
Absolutely. So this is the second edition. Last year we did a 16-hour live Zoom session, which was pretty intense, but it was focused essentially on the seaweed entrepreneurs. So the goal was really to rally all the people from the seaweed economy together to talk about challenges, find appropriate solutions, and really drive innovation forwards. What we wanted to do this year is we wanted to take the seaweed space out of its comfort zone, because generally all these events, there's always the same people, always discussing about the same things. And this year we actually wanted to bring people from outside the industry, whether it's the general public, whether it's businesses, investors, to really start understanding and raising awareness on how seaweed could answer their problems, how could they answer their challenges that they're facing, and how it is actually implemented within their daily lives in a constant manner, even though they're not aware of it, especially in the food sector. So really the goal was to raise awareness, and we knew we didn't want to do another 16-hour live session. So we actually partnered with a company called vFair in order to have a very immersive experience online, where there's a virtual expo that's going to be present during a month. There's going to be the auditorium where people can visit and hear all that amazing content. There's also going to be an area where people can chat and discuss about seaweed all together. And finally, there's also going to be a very unique place, a telethon room where people can actually donate to help support the seaweed projects we have around the world, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in the US, in Africa, in France, in Australia, and we hope to have more in the upcoming months. The goal for us is to raise awareness around seaweed. And of course, there's brown kelp that's very popular today. There's red seaweed that's used in the cosmetics and pharmaceuticals and in the food area. But we also want to demystify certain aspects of seaweed that people generally have a very bad opinion of. And sargassum is clearly one of them. Generally, when I talk about sargassum, whether it's in the US, whether it's in Europe, people say, "Oh, is it that seaweed that bothered and ruined my vacation when I was in Mexico?" So yeah, it has a very negative opinion. Of course, people see it as something that's very harmful for the environment, that's destroying everything, that's impacting tourism and everything else. But what we started realizing after discussing with people locally, with also entrepreneurs that are starting to find utilization for seaweed, notably as sargassum, is that it is possibly one of the biggest hidden opportunities that there could be within the seaweed space. Not only from an economic point of view and saying how we can valorize all this biomass that's just floating there between Africa all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. How can we valorize that to create, whether it's alginates, whether it's agricultural products, so on and so forth. But also, what exactly could working with sargassum actually have a positive impact, not only on the environment, but on the coastal communities and the resilience that they have. This is something very important for us because, especially in island communities, we know that there's a lot of dependence on energy, dependence on food, dependence on agricultural products to make their products grow, and that they're the ones that suffer the most of climate change. And so by bringing regenerative projects that actually have a positive impact, not only on the environment, but the economy, but on their social community structures as well, these are topics that we really want to work on and we want to emphasize to show that, it's not just a basic crop that we're just going to mass produce, just like corn and everything else. And so this is why we wanted to bring sargassum. We have plenty of amazing projects. What we wanted to do during the hour is bring different actors together. So we're going to have, of course, entrepreneurs working in the area. We're going to have scientists. We're going to have politicians. And hopefully we're going to have as well an investor. So to bring all those different people together and saying, how can there be a collaborative solution to address sargassum in the Caribbean islands and, of course, in Mexico and Central America and everywhere else. So it's really to have that holistic approach and see exactly how we can start building kind of a roadmap and saying how we can actually valorize this product down the line. So, of course, we're going to focus on sargassum because it's going to be 1 hour, but this is a 24 live hour event. So, of course, we're going to have different topics going during the entire day. We're going to talk about social communities. We're going to talk about kelp. We're going to talk about agriculture, bioplastics, carbon, nitrates, all these different opportunities around the seaweed space. So really, sargassum is only one of those solutions, part of something bigger, which is also part of a bigger solution, which is the oceans. So really, we want to emphasize on the part that seaweed is only one of those key solutions within a wide array of solutions that we have, and that it's important for people to understand how they can integrate themselves within this entire scheme. Of course, I'm looking forward to have a maximum of people there. It's free to attend. So, of course, as we said, the virtual event is on June 2nd, but afterwards there's a month of expositions where different partners, including Sargassum Podcast, will have their own booths where you can visit them. You can learn more about sargassum. You can learn more about the solutions that there are around the sargassum world. So I highly recommend you come visit. And of course, if you have the chance to discuss with other people and learn more about sargassum and seaweed in general, that's the objective that we have. So we're really hoping to see you there, and we hope you learn a bit more about seaweed.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Antoine. Of course, the Sargassum podcast team will be there, and all. And if you want to know how to log in and get your free registration, and all that, click on the links below and sign up. And we'll see you there. And anyway, on behalf of Cleo, myself, and Antoine, we want to thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.